What is up, everybody? Matt Moda here to give you my favorite MLB home run predictions for today. We're talking Saturday, August 9th. Happy Saturday, everybody. The Dong Report is back in your life. I'm going to have 7 total players on Dong Watch for today. In terms of my favorites, I actually have 4 that I wanted to go with as my favorites as opposed to the 3. But also, obviously, going to spray the board with the remaining 3 guys for those of you that want to do that with me. Regardless, would appreciate it if you could watch the entire video. Before we get into today, we got to do a recap from yesterday, which was admittedly not great. The only player that came through for us was Kyle Schwarber. Lost everybody else. Montgomery, he hit a bunch of balls kind of far. Not far enough, obviously, to be a home run. Need to take a break from my guy, Colson Montgomery. Muncy and Freeman didn't do anything at the plate. That was disappointing. Barry, he didn't really do much, and then he got pinch hit for because he can't hit lefties. The 2 Marlins guys are in a doubleheader today, so I won't be on them. And then Hunter Goodman didn't do anything as well. So pretty frustrating day yesterday. We were down a little bit under half a unit. Thank you to Kyle Schwarber in the first inning. At least that one happened. Down 0.47 units, so basically a half unit. On the year, we're up about 2.5 units on the year. We're up about 2% ROI. Obviously not amazing in the grand scheme of things, but happy to have a season in which we are in the green. Of course, if you're putting 1 unit on every single player, you're up a lot, but I don't recommend doing that. Yesterday I would have risked 8 units, and that's just too rich for my blood. So not the best day. It's been a tough 2 days in a row for us. Let's hope that we can bounce back today. It's admittedly not the best weather slate in the world for home runs. Now, the best games of the day, I don't have a play in the Dodgers game or the Brewers game. Now, the starting pitcher for the Mets isn't confirmed, which doesn't help because not every book has odds. There's some average games like at Yankee Stadium, at T-Mobile Park, at Target Field, and then some gross ones here at the bottom. Mostly Oracle Park and the Pirates game are completely no touches for me. Everything else is in play, but not a great weather day. Mostly agreement from Weather Edge. There are some slight disagreements. They like the Yankees game, which so did Ballpark Pal. They hate the Tigers game, which Ballpark Pal had it as not quite as bad. They both hate the Pirates game. Weather Edge likes the Orioles game a lot more. They both kind of like the White Sox game. They both kind of like the Twins game. So mostly agreement across the board. But we can get into it, so I'm going to start with my favorites, as I always do. And I got to go right back to Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run. Now, I wasn't planning on taking him back-to-back days, but the odds on him were just way higher than they should be. So it was plus 290 at Fanatics. Let me refresh this and see if that is still available for you guys. If not, I would still take the 275. Okay, so the best offered price right now is plus 270. I would still take that. We just took Schwarber at plus 230 yesterday, and I see no reason why we should be getting better odds on him today. Now, I do understand why the odds are the way they are. It's because Jacob deGrom, as you can see here, he is pitching for the Rangers, and Jacob deGrom, if you know anything about baseball for the past 10, 15 years, has been one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's actually healthy. The thing is, this year, it's not like he's been fantastic, especially from the home run department. So you look at Jacob deGrom on the year. Allowed a home run every just under 25 at-bats. Completely nothing to be scared of. Now, nothing about his advanced stats show a pitcher that's that bad. His K rate's pretty good. His hard hit rate is slightly below average. His barrel rate is pretty good. The fly ball rate maybe is a little bit above average. But you look at him against lefties, and these numbers get pretty decently worse across the board. It's a home run every 20 at-bats to left-handed hitters. Hard hit rate went up. Fly ball rate went up. Barrel rate went up. Everything went up except for line drive rate, which is fine. So he's a little bit worse against lefties. And then you look at him over the last 5 weeks to see, all right, what's his recent form? Well, he's been smoked by left-handed hitters. Home run every 12 at-bats to lefties. You look at his numbers, fly ball rate maybe a little bit down, but the line drive rate is a lot higher. The barrel rate is super high. The hard hit rate is high. Now, his K rate is pretty good. So basically, when guys make contact with him, they hit the crap out of it. But he really has not been pitching well recently, especially against left-handed hitters. And Schwarber's just on an absolute roll. You look at him over the last 14 days. You want to know who leads the MLB in total barrels? Kyle Schwarber. He also has 23 hard hits, which is fantastic. You want to look at the last week, who is tied with 5 other batters for the most barrels in the MLB. Kyle Schwarber with 5, also adding 11 hard hits in the last week as well. And you want to see what he did at the plate yesterday? He had 4 hard hits yesterday, 4 hits above 100 miles an hour. And you want to look into those 4. The home run was just absolutely pissed on, 115 miles per hour off the bat. Then he had 105.4 fly out, put the ball in the air. That's a good sign. He had a 100-mile-an-hour fly out. Again, put the ball in the air. You want him to have a launch angle lower than 64 and 46 degrees. But the fact that he's still hitting fly balls at 100 EV, that's good. And then the 4th one, not really anything that impressive. A ground out 98 miles an hour. That really doesn't matter. It's the 3 above 100 miles an hour, and all 3 were put in the air. So Schwarber, we know he can go back-to-back. He's done that a million times this year. He's done it a million times in his career. You know, if we were getting worse odds, maybe I wouldn't have gone back to it. But at plus 270, if you can get that 290, if that's still out there for you, I think that's a great play on Kyle Schwarber as our first play. Next up, so my second of the favorites is going to be Salvador Perez. This is in the Royals-Twins game. I am also taking Vinny Pasquantino, a.k.a. Pasquatch, as well. So I'm going to talk about them at the same time. Just know that if you only want to take the 4 favorites, it would be Salvador Perez. So let's start with Perez because he's on fire. So he has got, you look at the last week, he's got 12 hard hits over the last week. That's pretty good. He's one of 9 batters with 12 or more hard hits. Sure, only 2 barrels in that stretch, but that's fine. That's still 2 barrels in a week is not that bad, especially when you consider the hard hit numbers. That's pretty impressive. And then you look at the pitching matchup. Bailey Ober is pitching for the Twins. Now, I like to call him Bailey Over because he stinks. He is admittedly worse against lefties, but you look at him over the last 5 weeks. Home run every 10.5 at-bats is disgusting. Now, he's only made 1 start. So you want to say, okay, you're looking at 1 start. You want to look at the entire year. Home run every 17 at-bats is disgusting. Against righties, where he's slightly worse, it's still a home run every 20 at-bats. And all these numbers across the board are horrific. I mean, the line drive plus fly ball rate, high. Hard hit rate, 55% is very bad. Barrel rate, just under 10% is very bad. The K rate at 21% is not horrible, but it's not like DeGrom, who was in the 30s. And then you look at him against lefties, significantly worse. Granted, the K rate goes down, so these percentage numbers go down as well, but home run allowed every 15 at-bats. So he is very much not good. It is a decent weather game at Target Field, plus 4%, mostly because of the air temperatures in the mid-80s, which is going to help with carry, as is the low barometric pressure. So normally Target Field is not a stadium that you want to target, for lack of a better word. That's not the case today. And Perez is hitting the ball hard. And then you look at Pasquatch, he's not hitting the ball as hard as Salvador Perez. You look at him over the last week, 7 hard hits in a barrel is acceptable. It's not amazing, but it's acceptable. You look at the last 2 weeks and it looks a little bit better for him. 15 hard hits and 5 barrels. So he was hitting better the latter part of this 2-week stretch, like from day 8 to 14, as opposed to the last week. But even over the last week, it's not like he has been terrible. Fly ball rate above 40%, pull rate above 40%. Both of those are pretty good. And then we do want to target the lefty against Bailey Over. Ballpark Pal really likes the matchup for Pasquatch to have him as a plus 10 for Pasquatch. And they do also like it for Perez as well. And I will say, and I'll give you the odds here as well, this is one of the highest EV plays on the board, specifically for Salvador Perez. So that is another reason why I went with him as one of my favorites. This is, again, according to Ballpark Pal. But the best offer price on him is plus 375 at bet 365, and the best offer price on Pasquatch is plus 390 at bet 365. But that is played number 2 and 3. And again, Perez is the second of my favorites. Next up, I'm going with Tyler Soderstrom, aka Soderbomb, to hit a home run. I like the price on him a lot. He is plus, of course, it's not showing up. He's plus 450 at bet 365. For whatever reason, those odds aren't pulling, but he's plus 450. I locked it in. That number is still available. The biggest thing for him is he's hitting pretty well recently. You know, he started off the year on fire. Then he had basically the next 3 months, didn't really do anything. He's been hitting well the last couple days. You look at him over the last 2 weeks, 17 hard hits is pretty good. 2 barrels is a little bit low. But you look at him over the last week and we see 9 hard hits in a barrel. That's pretty good. You look into his numbers and you see the hard hits are generally pretty good for him. Like 2 yesterday, which we'll talk about, 3 the day before, 2 hard hits in a barrel the day before that. then a couple days with only 1, and then 2, 3. So recently, he's been hitting well, and I love the matchup for him. Brandon Young is pitching for the Orioles, who's just really not a major league pitcher. You look at him, home run every 20 at-bats on the year is not terrible. Against lefties, every 17 at-bats is pretty bad, as is every single one of these numbers across the board, except for maybe his line drive plus fly ball rate is a little bit lower than what you would like. But he is very much not a good pitcher. Another situation, words are hard, where it's an extreme advantage in favor of Soderstrom. And he went yard back-to-back days. So for those you who say batter can't do it, Soderstrom just did it. Now, he didn't hit one yesterday, but it's not like he had a horrible day at the plate either. You look at him, this Orioles game, despite the fact that the Athletics only scored 2 runs, he had 2 hard hits, which is a fine number considering one was 105 miles an hour off the bat, and another one was 100 miles an hour off the bat. So 2 hits above 100 miles an hour. That's good. A lot of stuff lines up well for Tyler Soderstrom. So I like for him to hit a home run, especially at the plus 450 price, especially at Orioles Park, which is better for left-handed hitters because they have a relatively short right field. So that is technically play number 4 and the third of my 4 favorites. And then I'm also going with Spencer Torkelson to hit a home run. He is also offered at plus 450 odds at Bet365 as the best offered price. Now, this is the worst weather game that I am taking. The scariest thing here, I mean, minus 6% is not terrible. The scariest thing is the wind blowing in this game. It's 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing basically directly in. That's not great. That is definitely not what you look for. At least the temperature is relatively hot in the mid 80s, and nothing with like humidity and the pressure is going to impact things positively or negatively. The biggest reason we're going with Torque is he's been hitting very well recently. You look at him over the last 7 days, 8 hard hits and 3 barrels is good. Look at him over the last 2 weeks, 13 hard hits and 4 barrels. The hard hits are a little bit lower than what you would like, but the barrels are fine. But the biggest thing for him in this matchup is he's going up against Kikuchi, who's a good pitcher. He's not as good when he's away. He's better at home. And Torkelson is really, really good against left-handed hitters. So you look at him, or left-handed pitching, excuse me. You look at his splits on the year. We're looking at like his raw power numbers. ISO rate, 302 against lefties, up from 219 against righties. And you look at every number across the board. Slugging, higher. OPS, higher. Nerd stats, WOBA, higher. WRC plus, higher. And then you want to look at like the MLB leaders against left-handed pitching. So we're going to look at like qualified batters against left-handed pitching and look at ISO rate. Torkelson is number 7 in the MLB. It's top 7. I mean, the guy's above him. Now, Rami Gonzalez, you wouldn't expect. Paul Goldschmidt, you wouldn't expect. But then you see like Suarez, Schwarber, Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge, like some of the best home run hitters in baseball. Torque's up there with them against lefties. Now, he hit a home run yesterday, so I know people aren't going to like that, which I do understand. Soderbaum just went back-to-back, so he can do it. And you look at the day that Torkelson had at the plate, 2 hard hits. One of them was the home run. And you look into those hard hits, and he had another flyout. Now, it was too high in the air, and it wasn't fast enough, so not super impressive, but at least he is hitting fly balls. And then, of course, he had the home run that traveled 389 feet, was a home run in 30 out of 30 ballparks, a no-doubter. So targeting Torque against the lefty is generally good business, so we're taking him to hit a home run. Next up, I'm going with Daniel Schneemann to hit a home run. This might sound pretty random, but I actually do like this one a lot. He is a pretty decent price, offered at plus 525 at Bet365. Only book 500 or above. Now, FanDuel is kind of close at 470, and ESPN Bet's kind of close at 475, but still a pretty good price. And the biggest thing for him is he's also been hitting well recently. I mean, you obviously can tell what I'm looking at here, but the last 2 weeks, 17 hard hits, 4 barrels, very good. You look at him over the last week, 8 hard hits, 3 barrels, very good. Nothing to be scared of there. You want to look at what he did yesterday. Now, he didn't hit a home run yesterday, but the Guardians had a great day at the plate in general. And you see he had 2 of the 5 fastest hits of the game at 105 miles an hour off the bat and 104.5 miles an hour off the bat. Now, here's what I was talking about with Montgomery. Like, you look, he had 3 of the 5 farthest hits in the game yesterday. But like the longest one being 374, can't really say that's a bad beat. It's just like when you see this, you're like, wow, he really hit the ball hard. Not really the case. The pitcher for the White Sox is Sean Burke. He was not terrible. Definitely somebody that can get hit up by lefties. You look at him on the year, home run every 22 at-bats to left-handed hitters. These numbers across the board range from mediocre to slightly below average. The biggest thing here is the K rate. Like, they're all kind of in the same range as, like, not horrible, but also not great. You look at him over the last 5 weeks, so basically his last 5 starts, and things are a lot worse. The K rate's about the same, but the barrel rate's higher. The fly ball rate is super high. That's the biggest thing, is that fly ball rate is very, very high. And Schneemann does a pretty good job putting the ball in the air. 40% fly ball rate, only a 20% ground ball rate over the last week. And then you look at the last 14 days, it's the same thing. He doesn't hit that many ground balls. So you'd like for that pull rate to be higher, admittedly, but it's nice that he really doesn't hit any ground balls. And that's like the biggest weakness for Sean Burke, is allowing batters to put the ball in the air. It's really good from a pitch mix perspective as well. The pitch that he's going to see the most is the four-seam fastball. He's got really good numbers against the four-seamer, a 246 ISO rate against the four-seamer with the highest barrel rate and the highest hard hit rate on the team. Then he's going to see the curveball another 30% of the time. He's got a 360 ISO against the curveball. That's very good. The barrel rate is really good at 16%. Granted, the hard hit and the hard hit rate is lower than what you would like, but the barrel rate is very good. And you can go through it. Like, he's got good numbers against all these pitches from Sean Burke, which is why I thought he was worthy of taking. The weather in this one is, it's okay. It's at, no, this is one of the good weather games. That's right. I got mixed up because of the temperatures in the 90s with the wind. It is blowing slightly in, like, it's more so blowing side to side than in, but more in than out. That's not going to be great, but it's not going to be super, it's not going to impact the carry of the ball that much. As you can see, it's medium to high receptive to wind. And then the last play that we have here is Randy Arozarena to hit a home run. He is best offered at plus 475 at Fanatics. So that is the last play on him. Honestly, the reason that I'm going with Arozarena has less to do with the pitching matchup, because Joe Boyle is a good pitcher. He's like, at most, he's going to go 5 innings. He might only go 3, because if you look at his game logs, he doesn't go longer than 5, and more often than not, he goes between like 3 and 4 innings. But this is really just backing Arozarena, where if you look at like hard hits and barrels over the last 14 days and over the last week, Arozarena shows up everywhere. He's one of 15 batters with 21 or more hard hits over the last 14 days. That's fantastic. And he is one of 10 batters over the last 14 days with 7 or more barrels. That's fantastic. You look at him over the last week, he's one of 5 batters, so he's up there with Schwarber, one of 5 batters with 5 or more barrels, and he is one of 9 batters with 12 or more hard hits. So he's been fantastic. The fly ball rate half the time is very, very good. And he didn't hit a home run yesterday, and these are situations that I love. But you look at what he did at the plate. Not only did he have 3 hard hits, I mean, a lot of batters on the Mariners did well. He had 3 hard hits, and you look into those 3, 106 miles an hour off the bat, 103.6 miles an hour off the bat, and 102.5, and with the 382 flyout. Now, it wasn't a home run anywhere because it was hit to dead center. If that's pulled a little bit, that's a home run. But you're telling me 3 hits, 102 miles an hour and above, that is very, very impressive. So whether it's off of Boyle, whether it's off of the bullpen, which he's going to see a lot of, he could easily do that. The Rays bullpen is not good. So I'm just backing with him because he's one of the best hitters in baseball, and he's been fantastic recently. And that's all we got. So 7 total batters on Dong Watch for today. The favorites were these top 3, Soderstrom, Torkelson, Perez, and then Schwarber. And then rounding them out are Pasquatch, Vinny Pasquantino, Randy Arozarena, and Daniel Schneemann. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly. Check out the links in the description of the video. If you want to support the channel, link to Ballpark Pal, which I kind of showed you how I use them for my research. Link to my Tails account as well, which is just where I send everything out. So if you want to tail but not watch the videos, that's for you. Make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.